Hello, I'm Mr. Duda with STEM with Mr. Duda, and today I'm going to be teaching you about how to put together the spin circuit assembly in TinkerCAD 3D. So stick around. All right, so today we are on the spin circuit assembly. In order to get here, go to TinkerCAD.com. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Log in. You can log in with your Google account. Click on Learn. Then go to Lessons. I do have videos on these 4 as well as a few more. So check out the playlist. I've already done this one, this, and this since this, when the video came out, as well as this one. And now Spin Circuit Assembly. So we'll click on that. And it'll go ahead and open. The directions are always on the left-hand side, and you definitely want a mouse for this project, okay? A mouse is a good idea. So you're going to gather your parts. You need a hobby gear motor, a battery box with switch that holds 2 AAA batteries and 2 AAA batteries. And they actually have those for sale on this web page. Now, you're not on this page to start. You're actually going to start on this page. And so we'll start there. It says, in this tutorial, you'll learn how to make a monkey with spinning arms using the spin circuit assembly, which combines a spinning hobby gear motor with 2 AAA batteries. Let's get started. So they gave you the shape already. Our model, Mr. Monkey, is actually made of 3 parts, a body, a left arm, and a right arm. Let's check them out. So if you actually double click on this, you can see all the parts that he's made out of, and you could edit those and ungroup it, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, so they've got the separate parts. Don't do that, but you could. If you wanted to change anything, you definitely could do that. Okay, now I'm going to go, back, make sure it's all grouped. Perfect. All right, rotate the camera and notice how his arms are not directly connected to his body. This is because each arm will attach directly. Let's rotate in there, we'll see. Right? They are actually not attached, they're separate. Directly at each side of the motor axle, while his body will fit around the motor's enclosure. Move them. When the motor is powered by the battery box, his arms will pinwheel. So one will, this will spin this direction, that'll spin the same direction. Click and drag the monkey to see how currently all 3 parts are grouped together. We'll keep them grouped for now to make it easier. All right, let's move on to the next step. Find the circuit assembly in the shapes panel. Now what we want to do, theirs is a little different. You're going to go to circuit and assemblies instead of circuit assemblies. It's just categorized a little bit differently. And notice how for each circuit assembly there's a corresponding cutout. And I go over this in the one that we use for move. In this case, we're going to be using the spin circuit assembly. We'll go to the next step first. Drag out the spin circuit assembly. It's pretty big. All right. And drag out the 3 spin cutouts into the editor. So if we look, I see this 1 spin cutout. So they're saying there are 3 spin cutouts. That one I'm not totally sure what they're talking about. 3 spin cutouts into the editor. So I think they want us to actually just have 3 of these separate ones out there. Okay, and we'll see what they want. Notice how if you click on the spin circuit assembly or the spin cutout, there's a drop down in the inspector to switch between the 2 different shapes. You can choose to have the motor axles perpendicular to the holder or parallel. We'll keep it perpendicular in this example. So if we click on here, I'm guessing that's what they mean. When I click here, you can actually change this to parallel. But they want it perpendicular. That's because this is how the model is made. And then click next. And obviously, if you change it to perpendicular, you'd have to click on these and change. If you change it to parallel, you'd have to change these to parallel as well. All right, moving forward in this step, we'll check out how the spin circuit assembly and cutout lines and cutouts line up before we apply the cutouts to our monkey design. So select both the spin circuit assembly and all 3. So I'm going to hold shift and click on all 3. All right, center all 4 shapes on the workplane by clicking on the 2 metal dots along the workplane. So if we notice, we'll just look. This is how they want it aligned. Now it's interesting, they only have, I'm not sure. I guess they do have 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll say align. All right, and then they want them all just centered on each other. So we'll press this, and then you'll notice they all came together this way, but now they need to come together this way. So we click this, and they'll center each other. Now they're all perfectly lined up. Now we went a step ahead, I think. Maybe. We'll see. Moving to the next one. To make it easier to see how the monkey fits over the spin cutout, let's make him transparent. So we click on there, we click solid, and then we say transparent. And so now we can see through the monkey. Align Mr. Monkey with the circuit assembly. So clicking and dragging, you just click and drag and highlight everything. Click the align button and align all the shapes along the workplace by clicking the 2 dots in the same plane. So we'll notice they move it. For watching this, they move it centered and centered. So we will center it both directions. So center it like this and center it like this. Now, if you change the height of this monkey, that was a bad decision. You're going to have to go back, okay? Rotate to see how Mr. Monkey's arms should be aligned with the center of the gear hobby axle motor. So you'll notice that it goes right into the monkey, into his arms. That's perfect. Click next. Remember how Mr. Monkey's arms are grouped with his body, so select Mr. Monkey and click the Ungroup button. So now we're just going to select him. Okay, I clicked off of it. Select him, say Ungroup, and now it is ungrouped. Check that the ungroup was successful by clicking on each of his individual components and checking that they're selected independently. So if I click on his arm, I have one arm. If I click on the other arm, there's his other arm. If I click on his body, there we go. It worked. Moving on. All right, select the monkey's body and arms using shift and click. So I clicked on him, hold shift, click again, and make it and change the color to transparent to make it easier to see. So we did that exactly the same way. We say transparent, click continue or next. And then we need to apply the cutouts. So select both the monkey's body and one of the cutouts. So I'm going to select the monkey's body and select one of the cutouts. Now I'd imagine if we just click once, it's only going to select one. So I held shift and I selected it. And group. So we're going to group those. Okay. You'll notice there are still cutouts there, and this will take a little bit to render. Now if I move the monkey, and I'm going to hit undo, so don't do this, but you'll see there is a hole in the monkey, the shape of that cutout. Now I'm going to hit Control Z to go back and click next. Next, select one of the monkey's arms and one of the cutouts. So we're going to select the monkey's arm and then hold shift, click a cutout, and then say group, and then do the same for the other arm. Click it, hold shift, click, group. Now you'll notice all the cutouts are gone and the cutout shapes are inside. Everything's cut out the way it should be. If you made a mistake, Control Z is your friend. Now let's get the parts ready for 3D printing. Select one arm and press D on your keyboard. So let's do this, press D. Whew. Dropped it right onto the ground. That's an interesting one. I haven't used that before. Normally I just drag it down. All right, and drop the part in the work plane. They want us to do it on here too. D. Select the body. Finally drop the monkey body by selecting and pressing D just as you did with the 2 arms. So I'll press D. All right, select the body and 2 arms and drag them away. So I'll hold shift, right? And it says drag it away, because obviously you can't print them on top of each other. Notice how the cutout applied holes for the arms to attach to the motor spindle and for the monkey to fit over the motor. Now me personally, I guess that's fine. I would print these completely separately, and I hope they're going to go over that, but you can select each one, say export, and just do the selected shape. Now, let's see if that works again. Export, yeah, the selected shape. Do an STL, you'd print that one. Do this as a separate shape, XTL. Hopefully that's what it goes over. So now how to export. Select the first component. Perfect. So this is what we're doing. We are selecting the one piece, hitting export, making sure it says selected shape, do STL. Then you do the next one. Export, make sure it's selected shape, STL. do the last arm, export, selected shape, STL. After you have all the STLs, import them into your 3D printer software. If you don't know how your 3D printer runs, I've got a video on some of that. I can get into more detail if you need it. All right, so I went through it. I spent a little too much time trying to figure it out. But the way it works is this. What TinkerCAD is providing is just the base of this. So when you go to print that, it's just going to print the base. And then the part that you order, so the part that you order from here actually, and I don't know why I didn't notice this, actually has the gear and everything in it. So you don't have to print any of that gear. You're just going to push it down inside of this. So when you click export the selected shape and then STL, you will get this and you'll be able to print it. You could obviously send that to companies as well, right? So if you don't have a 3D printer, you could send any of these parts to these different things and get them printed. All right. So then it talks about setting it up. Obviously, if you have it with you right now, or you could come back to this video and check it out. You'll need tape, wire strippers. All you're doing is basically, it says orient the holder, so the hole for the battery box switch is facing towards you, so this hole right there. The switch is going to go in here. And then press the motor into the holder. So like I said, this is just an assembly that comes with it. With the cables facing to the left side, that'll make it so that the monkey's arms will rotate forward rather than backward when turning on with the switch facing you. Obviously, you could just switch the wiring if you put it in wrong. And then the motor has two cables that will need to wire to the battery box to ensure that the wires do not get tangled. So thread it through there. Now, I saw someone actually make a custom piece that the batteries actually fit into like below this, and they wired it directly. That was pretty cool. I'll try to link that in the description because he did a really nice job on that. And then basically you're putting it together and you're snapping the arms on, and you wire it. Obviously you can read this stuff. They're saying the battery box will fit in there, so I guess maybe I won't link that. You connect the arms just like that. Let me show you. They should just push directly on there. You could glue them. If this is something that you want permanent, I would glue them, but make sure the glue doesn't get into the gearbox. And then you just slide your monkey on top of it, right? And then for you to be able to sort of see what it looks like, I do believe once you turn on, do they show it? Oh, they don't show it. Well, obviously the arms will be spinning. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So they do show it. Just a moment. Let's see if this will load on my screen. Flip the switch, and it spins. All right. So this concludes the spin circuit assembly for TinkerCAD 3D. I hope that helped out. Maybe you're making it. If you did make it, that would be really cool if you would comment below and tell me how it worked out. I don't print a lot of these things. I like to create my own stuff, but this one maybe I'll print and I'll buy those things. But yeah, so comment below if you liked it and share this with anyone that you think would benefit. I don't see many of these tutorials on YouTube, so on these specific ones. So hopefully it helps. Have a great day.